Today, we reveal how Ukrainian fighters eliminated thousands of Russian troops and hundreds of pieces of military equipment in 24 hours. Russia continues to pay a high cost in troops and equipment during its full-scale invasion, according to Kiev, the recent figures of which outline losses of several dozen artillery systems, as well as 2 warplanes. Ukraine's military said on Monday that Russia had lost 6 tanks, 31 armored fighting vehicles, 69 artillery pieces, and 1,180 personnel over the previous day, taking the total number of casualties, which includes those both killed and injured, to 584,090. The British Defense Ministry said Saturday that Russian casualties have decreased from a maximum of 1,262 in May to 1,140 in July, because Russian forces are consolidating positions on the Kharkiv axis. As of Monday, the tracker website Oryx, which monitors Russian equipment losses, said Moscow had lost 794 pieces of self-propelled artillery and 393 pieces of towed artillery. The proof required of video and still images means that the figures are likely to be much higher, Oryx says. However, the last 3 months have been the costliest since the start of the war, the British MOD said. Russia has not updated its casualty numbers since September 2022, when it said it was just under 6,000. On Sunday, Ukraine's military's update noted that 2 aircraft were among Russia's equipment lost the previous day. This followed what Ukraine's general staff said was a drone strike on the Morozovsk airfield, a Russian military base in the Rostov region near the Ukrainian border, which is home to Sukhoi Su-27 and Su-34 glide bombers. Kyiv said that the strikes hit warehouses filled with ammunition, including those hosting guided aerial bombs that Moscow has used on Ukraine for months. Newsweek has contacted the Russian Defense Ministry for comment. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, said footage of secondary explosions near the airfield was consistent with strikes against an ammunition depot. Without specifying which ones in its figures, Ukraine said that Russia had lost 2 planes that day, taking the total aircraft losses for the war to 365. In July, Ukrainian drones had hit the same military airfield, with footage on social media showing smoke rising above the site. To choke off Moscow's war machine, Ukraine has recently targeted air bases inside Russian territory, including the Engels 2 base housing long-range bombers in the Saratov region and the Kushtyovskaya air base in Krasnodar. Kyiv has also hit air bases in Crimea, with Ukrainian Navy spokesperson Dmytro Pletenchuk recently saying that 2 Russian air bases in the occupied peninsula are effectively without planes. Also among Ukraine's recent tallies was its Monday update, which said that Russia had lost 69 artillery systems, taking the total since the start of the war to 16,345. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday that the long-awaited F-16s had been received. He thanked Denmark, the Netherlands, and the U.S. This fulfills President Joe Biden's pledge that the U.S. would allow allies to supply the American planes and help train the pilots. Kyiv has so far received 10 out of 79 of the jets, according to The Economist, which noted that Ukrainian pilots could be flying twice as many as that by the end of the year. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, said this stance by the pro-Kremlin war supporters, who are essential amplifiers of Moscow's invasion, had undermined Russian operations to portray their arrival as an uncrossable red line. In its update on Sunday, the Washington, D.C. think tank said Russian commentators and officials often warned that giving Western weaponry to Ukraine breaches a red line that could force Russia into an escalatory response. Meanwhile, a report from the military issues website The War Zone, TWZ, discusses what appears to be the latest Ukrainian uncrewed aerial vehicle, UAV development centered on its Baba Yaga heavy bomber drone. The repurposed heavy industrial quadcopters used to drop mortars and mines and act as relay stations for swarms of first-person view FPV drones now appear to have been modified to carry fire-guided projectiles. The Russian milblogger site Victory Drones published images on Telegram on June 2 that showed a captured Baba Yaga fitted with electronic boxes and antennae along with an unusual munition. The weapon, marked BK-30F in Cyrillic, seems to have a possible laser-guiding seeker head with a large, notched midsection fragmentation warhead and guidance fins. The weapon's shape and size resemble a modified version of the front section of the Soviet-era 9K-112 Cobra NATO AT-8 Songster semi-automatic command to line of sight SACLOS anti-tank guided missile. Originally intended to be fired from a tank's main armament, this recovered munition seems to be designed as a free-fall guidable weapon, the Cobra's missile motor and pop-out fins having been removed. Fitting the Baba Yaga drone with some form of standoff weapon is a logical progression. It stands to increase the drone's distance from its intended target, reducing its vulnerability and potentially allowing it to engage armored vehicles and protected defensive positions directly. Russian troops already fear the Baba Yaga drone because it is noisy and, being mainly deployed at night, is harder to detect and bring down. Moscow's troops coined the nickname, which refers to a character in Slavic folklore, a ferocious old woman who fries and eats children because of the fear its attack instills. When combined with airborne repeaters and relays, the heavy drone is already capable of penetrating deep into Russian-occupied territory. This new variation would allow it to strike targets from a greater distance and with greater accuracy into less well-prepared and defended rear areas. If this latest version of the Baba Yaga can use guided munitions, it could fulfill missions that only much larger and more expensive UAVs and increasingly vulnerable systems, such as the Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones, have been capable of carrying out. As the TWZ article points out, the drone arms race continues and is accelerating by the day. It states, "Nothing drives development, like conflict, and both sides are vying for an advantage. This latest development, therefore, gives Ukraine a tactical if temporary advantage."